If you've been around this channel for a while, you know two things. One, I'm a college student, which means that I don't exactly have money to throw around. And two, I'm a fan of fighting games, especially Super Smash Bros. Melee and Street Fighter 6. Last month, a large tournament in numerous fighting games happened in Vienna, Austria, so I went there. As a public transportation YouTuber and a person who doesn't own a car, I went there by public transportation. In this video, we'll explore how available, cheap, and fast public transportation makes events like these accessible to people with less resources. Before the video starts, please consider subscribing. It's free and it helps a lot. Thanks, and onto the video. While deciding on how to get there, I had four options. Either I could rent a car, go by long distance bus, go by train, or take a flight. Seeing as I don't own a car, I'd have to shell out quite a lot of money for a rental, as well as the gas, so naturally it was a no-go. A flight would only take 55 minutes, but considering the time and cost it would take to get to and from the airport on both sides, as well as the extremely high ticket price, this was a no-go as well. This left the long-distance bus and train. While a long-distance bus would be a valid option, I couldn't find a cheap ticket, and the comfort isn't exactly great. So, that left the train. Multiple operators run the Prague to Vienna route, so I had plenty of options to choose from. I chose the second daily service from Prague to Vienna operated by České dráhy, the Railjet 73 Vindobona, leaving Prague main train station at 6:42 am and arriving at Vienna main train station at 10:49 am. The trip took just over 4 hours, and since I bought the ticket early, I paid 330 Czech crowns, or 13.17 euros for the ticket. Before arriving in Vienna, I noticed that the venue of the tournament was quite downhill from the train station, so I decided to rent a bike-sharing bike and cycle to the venue. The 17-minute trip from the train station to the venue cost me a crisp 70 cents. Later on, I bought a 24-hour public transport ticket for 8 euros, which would last me until the end of my trip. The last transportation expense was my train home. My train of choice was the last daily České dráhy service from Vienna to Prague, the Railjet 372 Vindobona. Because of it being the last train, and because I bought the ticket really early, the ticket cost me an incredible 250 Czech crowns, or 10 euros. All in all, let's add up the transportation costs of my trip. I paid 13.17 euros for the train to Vienna, 70 cents for the bike trip, 8 euros for the public transport ticket, and 10 euros for the train home. This means that the total transportation costs for my trip came up to 31.87 euros, which is remarkably cheap for about 9 hours of long-distance train travel, a day unlimited public transport pass, and a bike ride. Granted, I had a student discount, but even if I paid the full fare, it still would have been cheaper than driving a car. If I had taken a car, I would have paid more. Using Michelin's fuel cost estimator, just the fuel for a regular, one-way Prague to Vienna trip would come up to 51 euros, not to mention the parking fees, the rental fees, etc. While transportation costs were cheap, if the city was planned incorrectly, I still would have had to spend a lot of money and time to exist there and to get around. Thankfully, that isn't the case in Vienna. Vienna is thankfully properly planned, allowing people with less resources to exist in and get around the city without spending tons of money, causing asthma in hundreds of children, and paving over centuries-old cities with asphalt. Moving around the city was a complete breeze, with the city's public transportation system and an actually existing cycling network. The latter came as a shock to me, as a citizen of Prague, where 95% of bike infrastructure looks like this. Getting around the city was quick, convenient, and cheap, with me spending only 8.7 euros on intra-city transport throughout the 2 days I was there. Cycling around the city was okay. Definitely not the Netherlands, but coming from Prague, where cycling is akin to having a death wish, not feeling like a car was gonna send me to meet my maker any second was a pleasant change of pace. One thing I did notice about cycling in Vienna is just how frequently you have to stop while riding. Ideally, you'd want to minimize the amount of times cyclists have to stop while riding, to ensure that bike traffic flows smoothly. In parts of Vienna, you unfortunately have to stop quite frequently, especially at crossings, because cars still have overwhelming priority. Other than that, cycling was a mostly pleasant experience. Definitely not on the levels of the Netherlands, but way ahead of most cities. Thankfully, the gaps left by the cycling infrastructure are filled by the city's public transportation system. Getting to the hotel, to the tournament venue, to the train station, getting anywhere was a complete breeze. No finding parking, no paying parking fees, no paying for gas. All I had to do was walk to the station, hop on, and go. What I'm also thankful for is the simplicity of Vienna's fare zone system. Some cities around the world adopt complex fare zone systems, sometimes to an almost silly extent. Vienna takes the easy and convenient route of considering the whole urban area of the city as one fare zone. So long as you stay within the city limits of the city, your ticket is valid. For everything, from the subway to a regional train to a bus to everything. Ultimately, building cities around people, and not cars, allows people with less resources, like working class people, students, and the elderly to experience great events. Even if you're not a part of one of these groups, it's always good to save money. Car ownership is really expensive, which hits those with less money to spend the hardest. Everyone has to pay the same price for gas, insurance, buying the car, maintenance, etc. So ultimately, forcing everyone to own and maintain their own cars, like in large parts of North America, acts like a heavy tax on everyone, especially the poor. Instead of spending thousands of euros per year on having to maintain a car, I can spend that money on going to compete in the games I love, to make better videos for you guys, to spend it on those I love, and more. Ultimately, I'm really glad I got to go there. It was a lovely time, and I doubt I could have gone there if I had to pay all the different costs of car ownership. I ended up 17th out of 64, but I got quite the experience out of it. I got to explore the transit system of a new city, so all in all, it was worth it. If you'd like to watch me play fighting games terribly, you can do so on my personal Twitch channel. I'd appreciate if you gave it a follow. Hey, thanks for sticking to the end, that was very cool of you. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so on my Ko-Fi page. I'd also like to take this time to thank Monday's Last Brain Cell for supporting the channel with the top membership tier. I can't express how grateful I am for the support. Enjoy the bloopers, this has been Tramley and I'll see you next time. Bye! Thankfully, the gaps left by the cycling infrastructure What I'm also thankful for is the Bruh. Ultimately, building cities around people, and not cars, allows people with less resources, like working Bro, I'm tired. Bruh. Instead of spending thousands of euros per year on having to maintain a car, I could spend... Instead of spending thousands of euros per year, I should have spent that money on learning how to fucking speak!